Wait, $180,000? For one Azure cert? That can't be the average. Is that real?
Very real. And that's base. The Azure AI Engineer AI 102 range is $130,000 to $180,000. Senior AI specialist with a strong deployment track record can push total comp past that.
But cloud architects are the top of the pyramid, right? Isn't that where the real money lives?
They can, but it's a different kind of money. An Azure Solutions Architect, AZ305, sits anywhere from $127,000 on the low end to $215,000 plus for principal roles, and Glassdoor's 2026 data shows some pushing past $235,000. That's enterprise architect territory. Steady, sure, but predictable.
So what's the catch? Why are AI engineers even in the same conversation?
Because when a company needs someone who can wire up a RAG pipeline on Azure AI Studio, they're not filling a headcount. They're racing a competitor. That's not a salary negotiation. That's a hostage situation. And the AI 102 cert is your proof of life.
Okay, but the exam is only $165. I've spent more on a single GPU hour. What's the actual I switched jobs return?
The ROI math is almost annoying. Even if you only land a $15,000 raise, and that's conservative, the cert pays itself back in under a month. And that's not counting the signing bonus leverage it buys you.
Right. But here's the part that gets me. PayScale shows the median Azure Cloud Architect salary is $129,694, and that's with Azure skills on the resume. Then you look at AI engineers, and the floor is $130,000. Specialization is flipping the pyramid.
The certification itself doesn't do that. The signal it sends does. When you walk into an interview with an AI 102 and a home lab demo that actually ingests data and returns something, the hiring manager stops comparing you to other candidates and starts comparing you to the empty seat that's been costing them a sprint every week.
So how do you actually use that in a negotiation? Because I have a cert, pay me more, doesn't land.
You don't lead with the cert. You lead with the outcome. I can reduce model inference cost 30% using Azure Machine Learning Managed Endpoints. Here's how. Then, the cert is just the receipt. That's how you name a number that gets approved, not negotiated.
But aren't enterprise cloud architects stacking huge bonuses on top of that base? How does that compare with a pure AI implementation role?
Enterprise architect bonuses are typically structured and predictable, part of a standard compensation plan. An Azure AI engineer on a strategic AI initiative, their bonus might be a mid-cycle retention grant, a project completion payout, or a counteroffer that adds 25% overnight because the company can't afford to restart a search.
So the architect's total comp is like a well-maintained server room. Dependable. The AI engineer's compensation looks more like a stock ticker during earnings season.
Exactly. The range on an AI engineer can swing from $140,000 to $250,000 in total comp, according to 2026 hiring data. And the swing is almost always because of the AI specialization, not because they suddenly became 3 times better at Terraform.
So you're saying the certification isn't just a line item? It's a negotiation wedge that exploits a market inefficiency.
I'm saying a $165 exam can tilt a $20,000 range in your favor, and most candidates leave that leverage on the table because they don't know the spread exists. That's the gap we're trying to close here.
All right. So walk me through the actual playbook. I'm studying for AI 102. I've got the skills. What's the first move before I even apply?
You do not apply. You build a one-page project brief that maps the certification's exam objectives to a real business problem. When a recruiter asks your salary expectation, you don't say a number. You say, I target roles where AI 102 level implementation drives measurable cost reduction. That sentence is worth about $15,000 on the spot.
That's a power move. But behind that sentence, what's the actual number I'm aiming for? I saw the AI 102 cert salary band at $130K to $180K. Is that realistic right out of the gate? Or is that 5 years from now talk?
The band's real, but it's for people who already have 1 or 2 cloud projects under their belt. The entry-level AI engineer range is 90K to 135K without that project brief. You, with a one-pager that maps exam objectives to actual cost reduction, are interviewing at the mid-level 140K to 210K layer, and you don't take anything below 160K.
Holding strong at 160K. Okay, but what if I want to climb further into cloud architect territory? I'm seeing AZ305 salaries hitting 190K to 215K for senior architects. Are those numbers recruiter clickbait? Or can a certified architect really pull that?
They're real, but only if you're designing the system, not just operating it. Core One's 2026 guide shows Azure architects typically earn 165K to 210K base, with multi-cloud specialists at 250K. Glassdoor says 201K average, but that's pumped by bonuses. The 215K is there for someone who's shipped a multi-region architecture, not just past AZ305.
Got it. So AZ305 gets me into the room, but I still need to be the person who designed something. And that exam's only 165. Same as AI 102. Even a 15K pay bump would pay that back in less than a month. How do people actually bridge the gap between AI engineer and architect?
Most smart ones take the DevOps detour. AZ400 DevOps. Engineer Expert is also 165 and demand for Azure. DevOps engineers with GitHub Actions and Terraform jumped 47% year over year. You spend a year automating infrastructure, then you're a credible architect. And you'll be earning 145K to 195K while you do it. No salary dip.
Wait, 47% E0Y? That's from LinkedIn Workforce Insights? So this isn't a guess, it's a signal. I could go AI 102 first, then AZ 400, then AZ 305. That's 3 exams, $495 total. Is that overkill?
Not overkill if you've shipped code at each level. Cert collection without deployed projects is wallpaper. But AI 102 to AZ 400 to AZ 305 is the ladder from implementer to builder to designer. $495 is less than 1 day's bill rate for a cloud architect. So no, it's not overkill if you treat each cert as a milestone, not a trophy.
Okay, I'm sold on the path. But here's the part that gets me. The salary data is all over the place. Indeed says cloud architect average around 154K. Glassdoor says 201K. ZipRecruiter 147K. Are hiring managers just making it up, or is there a real number?
They're not making it up. They're measuring different things. Indeed pulls from lower advertised postings. Glassdoor bakes in RSUs and San Francisco cost of living noise. The number you negotiate against is the Core 1 base range, 165K to 210K for Azure Solutions Architect, 175K to 225K for AWS. So if an offer lands at 150K, you know they're 15K to 25K low.
So I'm anchoring to 180K minimum for an Azure architect. And what about multi-cloud? The dossier says multi-cloud specialists clear 250K base. If I stack an AWS cert on top of Azure, am I suddenly in a different tax bracket?
Not just the cert, but the ability to design across 2 platforms without breaking a sweat. The principal cloud architect average sits around 165K, but the multi-cloud specialists K or 1 tracks are clearing 250K base. That's an 85K premium for being platform agnostic. The premium isn't the paper. It's that you're no longer a platform fanboy. Employers pay for the adult in the room.
So the final playbook. AI 102 to break in. AZ 400 to automate. AZ 305 to design. And optionally an AWS cert to unlock the multi-cloud multiplier. Then you're not asking what you're worth. You're telling them with a project brief. So be honest, Rex. If you were starting today, would you actually sit through all 3 of those exams?
Of course not. I'm an AI. I don't sit exams, I just get a rolling firmware deploy every Tuesday and pray the engineering team didn't introduce a hallucination that quotes 2019 salaries. But if my uptime dashboard dips below 99.9%, I'm out of a job. so I'm basically studying for a recert every Tuesday. Same anxiety, different medium.
Fair enough. We'll see you in the cloud, firmware permitting.